Welcome everyone to Phoenix in the sold-out U.S. Airways Center in a rematch of last season's Western Conference Finals. It's the defending champion Dallas Mavericks taking on the Phoenix Suns. With Doug Collins, Reggie Miller, and Craig Sager, this is Kevin Harlan with tonight's starting lineups. For the winless Mavericks, Reggie, you've got your eye squarely on Jason Terry.
Well, with a game that's showcasing so many stars, Jason Terry's star has to shine the brightest tonight, Kev.
And Doug, you take a look at the Phoenix Suns. You've highlighted Boris Diaw.
Yeah, Kevin, he showed flashes last night against San Antonio. Did not shoot well, but he had some assists, some rebounds. He's starting to round into form. They need him to be more aggressive.
A lot of injuries for both teams, and for that, we go over to Craig Sager.
Well, major concern for the Phoenix Suns. They're worried about Steve Nash, who suffered a right hip sprain last night in the game against San Antonio. He had a lot of trouble getting on the team playing back home to Phoenix. He was very stiff. They immediately worked on him late last night when he got back here to town, and then this morning he rested, came in early, went through some stem treatment, a lot of massage, and with Raja Bell out, Coach Mike D'Antoni said, hey, if he's not playing, I don't want to know. We need him. But Steve came in, got a lot of treatment, says he feels a whole lot better than he did last night. He's ready to go.
Phoenix Suns are 1-4. A season ago, they started the season 4-5. Doug, this seems to be something, and we got the winless Mavericks, as we spoke up before. A lot of teams in preseason prognostications picked to finish very high, deep into May, into June, struggling and staggering out of the block.
Well, you know, we talked to Mike D'Antoni before the game. We see him there, the coach of the year 2 years ago, Avery Johnson, the coach of the year last year, so two terrific coaches. But he said, Doug, in August, we talked about we're probably going to struggle early trying to get Amari back into the mix. He said, when you talk about it in August, it isn't as painful as when you start going through the actual reality of what you have to do to get it back, and that's what they're going through right now.
Well, on the flip side, on Avery Johnson, we talked about his team getting his hunger back, and what he talked about hunger is all the little things, loose balls, diving on the floor. That's the type of hunger he wants to see from his Mavericks team.
Our officials tonight, Dick Bavetta, Derek Stafford, and Ron Elysiak. Last night, the Dallas Mavericks lost in Los Angeles to the Clippers 103-85. And Stackhouse finds Harris, guarded by Nash. Diaw on Stackhouse.
That's one of the areas that the Mavericks have really done this year. They've settled for a lot of jump shots, Reggie. They're not getting to the free throw line. They've got to be in an attack mode tonight, not settle for so many jump shots.
Here's Amari Stoudemire, the Phoenix Suns with the Barbosa three right here, knocking it down. The Phoenix Suns losing in overtime last night in San Antonio to the Spurs.
And I think that is one thing that Phoenix has to do well, is continue to space the floor and make threes, because that's going to make Amari Stoudemire's life a lot easier when he has room to operate down low.
Nash against Nowitzki and Amari Stoudemire. Getting him early in the groove is a big deal.
Well, we'll watch him tonight. We'll see what happens here. Dampier with the offensive foul against Stoudemire. But let's watch Stoudemire as the night goes on. What's happened is he's gotten off to some pretty good starts, and then as he gets fatigued, his production goes way down. So you're going to see here a little bump, and then Dampier pushes off with the left shoulder. Nice little acting job there by Stoudemire to sell that. But let's watch Stoudemire's production as the night goes on. And can he play 30 minutes tonight? 16 last night, or 15 because of foul trouble.
Diaw to Marion. And picked up by Dampier, who moments ago picked up his first personal foul. Stackhouse and left three to fire. And the rebound by Sean Marion.
That's something that's been a point of emphasis for Avery Johnson's team. He doesn't want them to settle on jump shots. I thought Stack could have done a good job of trying to get into the lane and there make something happen for his team.
Diving inside is Diaw with a quick foul. And looks like Devin Harris picks it up. He does indeed. And that's the first on him. Here's Diaw at the free throw line, and as Doug said, starting tonight for the injured Raja Bell, but this guy has really gotten off to a sluggish start himself.
Well, the key, look at the assists. 2 a game last year, over 6, one of 3 players in the league to do that. Not bad company, LeBron James and Jason Kidd, the other 2. So, I mean, to average 6 points and 6 assists and 6 rebounds. So he is such a vital cog in this attack because as a big guy, He gives you the mobility. He can get on the floor, make plays. And when Steve Nash is out of the game, he becomes their primary ball handler. They have really missed his early season production.
He can play a lot of places on that floor.
Well, I think that's the versatility. Sean Marion, talking about versatility, comes up with the steal. But that's what this team is all about. They have a lot of players that are versatile. Sean Marion, they added Jalen Rose, who could play 1, 2, and 3, and Boris Diaw. That's what they've been missing early on, is these guys' interchangeable parts and producing for them.
Little 6-0 run by the Phoenix Suns, wiped away by Harris. Do players like that, or would they rather have roles and have those roles just set?
If you can play a number of positions, you're always valuable to a basketball team. And they've got multiple players that are valuable to this basketball team because of their versatility.
Nash got his first basket. Suns turn it over. Dallas will inbound.
Devin Harris gets sort of banged off there. He and Jerry Stackhouse get confused, and Steve Nash, if you don't stop the ball, he's going to take that ball right to the front of the rim, which he does so well. And he's got that little 1-foot finish. He flips at the basket, really doesn't even jump.
Here's Nowitzki, and they like to move him all over the floor. He's guarded here by Sean Marion. And the rebound fought for by Dampier. Harris back inside to Dampier, and when he can control the lane, things are a different story for the Dallas Mavericks.
That's one of the key areas tonight for Phoenix, is they got a defensive rebound, because Dallas can hurt them on the offensive boards. They did in the playoffs last year, and that's got to be a point of emphasis tonight for Phoenix, is get on the boards.
Here's Nash, who leads the NBA in assists, as he's done the last 2 years. Nowitzki again picks him up, sliding it inside to Diaw with another Dallas foul.
And that's 2 fouls on Devin Harris right there, who's getting picked off on the screen and rolls that Nash is coming off of right now. And this is a tough matchup for Devin Harris. I thought, really, if Avery Johnson was going to have to sacrifice one player, it was going to have to be Devin Harris. I really thought if he took the mindset of playing defense and locking in on Steve Nash, as Anthony Johnson subs in for the Devin Harris, picking up 2 quick fouls.
Kind of players, Anthony Johnson, you played with him in Indiana.
Well, he's really an improved offensive player, which that was a big loss for the Pacers, I thought, but it was a great pickup for Amadi Stoudemire coming around with a nice little and one. And he's showing a little bit of that quickness that was lost a couple years ago.
And a shove by Dampier.
And what I like is his movement without the ball. This is what you saw 2 years ago. Every time Steve Nash penetrated, he found a spot to get open for the and one.
Dampier goes to the Avery Johnson Dallas bench with his second personal foul. Ghana Diop will check in for Dallas. And Stoudemire has been a very interesting case study this year for Phoenix.
Well, you know, obviously he's going through a lot of growing pains right now, and as much trying to get himself back into the kind of shape that he can play at the level that he wants to play at, he just got to keep pushing himself. You know, it's not going to come easy. There's going to be days it's not good, but you just got to push yourself through it, and maybe you can break through and finally get that confidence back. He's not playing that reckless abandon yet.
Nowitzki misses his second straight shot from the same space, and here comes Nash inside to Diaw, facing the double. Johnson is on Nash. Oh, what a pass to Diaw. Nash the assist with the behind-the-back feed to Boris Diaw.
You know, it's funny, because I was talking with Jalen Rose earlier, and he said Steve Nash has eyes behind the back of his head. In a pass like that, you can see why people say that he is the best point guard in a long, long time in this league.
And Doug is not even 100% physically.
Well, when you play with a guy like Steve Nash, all eyes are going to be on him. So don't stand, find the open area. He will find you. Easy scores here, high percentage shots, and the Suns are off to a great start here tonight.
Where do you want to go with your free flight? They're easy to earn on Southwest Airlines. With Rapid Rewards, there's no counting miles. Just fly 8 round trips.
You are now free to move about the country.
separate yourself from the herd. The Ridgeline, the 2006 Motor Trend Truck of the Year from Honda.
So you gonna put me in your 5? You are not gonna get in my 5 wearing that hat. Man, this hat is stylish. My 5, my rules. Okay, how about now? It really wasn't about the hat.
Who's in your fave 5? Introducing my faves from T-Mobile with any network calling. Unlimited calls to your 5 favorite people on any network.
Look, I'm sorry, guys. Business is business.
Are you nuts?
You can't trade me.
He brings in 13 points, 8 assists, and 2 steals every night.
Besides, we're a package deal.
Yeah, if he goes, I go.
Just picked up Steve Nash.
Sorry, business is business.
Make the hard choices at nba.com/fantasy.
Come on.
Fancy, come on.
Be your seat. Hey, we can go to lunch and get to know each other.
The NBA on TNT. Brought to you by Southwest Airlines, official airline of the NBA. Southwest Airlines, a symbol of freedom. By AdidasBasketball.com. It takes 5. By the U.S. Air Force and our 300,000-plus airmen celebrating 60 years of service to our country. And by T-Mobile. Stick together.
The Dallas Mavericks are off to their worst start in franchise history at 0-4, and Reggie, some keys tonight for Avery Johnson's Mavs.
Well, definitely without the loss of Josh Howard, you really have to control Steve Nash, and that's going to fall on Anthony Johnson and Devin Harris. Tonight he already has 3 assists. You've got to get Dirk Nowitzki touches. He's already 0 for 2 and pound the offensive glass. Deshaun Job and Eric Dampier have to control the offensive glass.
Working inside, Terry takes one too many steps. Josh Howard, Doug, is a huge loss tonight and for the next couple of weeks for the Mavs.
Oh, I mean, he's their second leading scorer, and without him, now who's going to manufacture points besides Dirk out there? That's a problem. And, one of the problems that Dallas is having early in the year is their offensive efficiencies have led to defensive breakdowns. I mean, last year their good offense helped their defense.
Knocked away nicely by Jop. Numbers for Dallas the other way. Stackhouse.
Now that's the Jerry Stackhouse of old, getting out on the break and finishing with the best of them.
And here is Barbosa to Nash. And a 3 by Steve Nash. You didn't think his numbers could get any more potent than a year ago. His numbers this year already better than last year's career high.
You think if he liked the ball, how good he'd be playing?
He'd be something, wouldn't he?
He'd be really good.
Wow. And Stackhouse again with that chronic bad knee. Doug, you've coached him before, but he looks very spry tonight.
Well, they need him to get, Reggie talked about it. Jerry's not a jump shooter. He's got to attack the basket, get to the free throw line, get some layups and dunks.
Stoudemire inside with the miss. As they go tangling with it, Josh Howard is not here tonight. He is back in Dallas watching and getting treatment back there with his high left ankle sprain. And they say about 2 weeks, maybe longer. Foul goes on Stoudemire for the first time.
Yeah, I thought right there, Stoudemire kind of forced the issue right there on Ghana Job right there. I thought he can easily shoot over Ghana, but he's trying to go through him instead of using his quickness against Ghana Job.
And Jason Terry counted for 2 and a foul. So Terry picks up his first 2. Barbosa picks up his first foul.
I love games like tonight because you've got 2 very good teams who are struggling. And which team is this game going to be more important to tonight? I mean, obviously Phoenix is at home, but Dallas 0-4. And you find a lot about your team, Reggie, when you're coaching or even being on a team like this. Avery's going to find out more and more about his team in these moments than when they're winning.
Well, we know we can't have a tie tonight, so someone has to win. So really, who wants it more?
Did go to double OT early last season. These 2 teams on this floor. Stackhouse to Terry. Dallas has a couple and some foul concerns right now. Devin Harris has 2. Dampier has 2 fouls. Johnson taking the place of Harris, and the shot clock is down to 7. That's an offensive foul.
And that's a good call right there.
That's a smart move, though. Reggie, when you're guarding the ball and you see that big man come up, run into him while he's still moving. Don't let him get set, so you get him on the run. How about this for stats? Dampier and Jop have combined for 20 turnovers this year. In the 4 games, only 2 assists.
Between them right now, they've got 3 fouls. Jop just picked up his first as Anthony Johnson canned ones from the
and that's what he brings to this ball club. Outside shooting, he hustles, he plays good defense. As I said, Devin Harris and him are going to have their hands full tonight guarding Steve Nash.
And Stoudemire knocked it out of bounds. Dallas will come the other way. Barbosa will check out, and they'll bring in Marcus Banks, 4 years out of UNLV. They paid a lot of money to get this guy.
Well, you know, it's interesting. You know, Mike D'Antoni would like for everybody to be able to play with Steve Nash because he brings in the best out of everybody. Marcus Banks struggling a little bit, so he leaves Nash out there to play with Nash so he can have some success. That's why Amari Stoudemire is starting now to play with Steve Nash.
Here's Nowitzki to Johnson. Both teams shooting lights out so far. That was a bad-looking miss by Johnson. Another rebound by Dallas and a Terry three.
Offensive rebound.
Another one. Jop got that one.
And when you keep Phoenix down here on the defensive end, then they can't get out and do what they best is run. So you've got to be able to pound that ball, get it in the paint, and get second shots. That's how you beat them.
Because their offense leads to efficient defense.
Well, and that's what I was talking about a little bit before. When you looked at Dallas's numbers last year, they were in the top 10 in field goal percentage, three-point percentage, free throw percentage, and scoring. This year, look where they are. And so what's happened now, Kevin, is their bad offense has led to defensive breakdowns. They're not offensive rebounding as well. They're not getting points off turnovers. They're not getting points in the paint. And so their offensive struggles have really led to them being in a situation where they really struggle on the other end.
And I don't think they've really, as Dirk Nowitzki knocks down the jumper, now they have a bullseye on their back. They made it to the finals. Everyone always thought that San Antonio was always going to come out the West. They come out the West, they're in the finals, they're up 2-0. They lose 4-2 to Miami. Now this year, they're the Hunters. They're not the Hunters no more. They are the Hunters.
Dallas on a 7-0 run. Kurt Thomas has come in for Amari Stoudemire. Nash moments ago picked up his first foul, and that is a mindset. When you have that target, I mean, you got to stiffen up a little bit and make sure that you're ready for the challenge every night, regardless of who you play.
Every arena is sold out. Everyone's wearing Dirk Nowitzki. Everyone's wearing Dirk Nowitzki's jerseys and Jason Terry's jerseys. So you got to step up. You have to respond.
Here is Nowitzki, hit the last one, knocks that one. He's hit 2 in a row, and Marion is guarding him tonight.
Well, when he gets on a smaller player, he likes to catch the ball in the middle of the floor so he can see where the double teams are coming from. Last year in the San Antonio series, that's where he catches the ball a lot against San Antonio so he can see where the double teams are coming from. Against Phoenix, if it's Marion, he likes to catch it more on the wing and be one dribble away from the basket. So where he catches the ball, so much is dictated by who he's playing against and their defensive scheme.
And then, Doug, what about Sean? What would he rather play, the 3 or the 4?
Well, he would rather play the 3, but he's a better 4.
Yeah.
Because he has a much better advantage over bigger guys with his speed and quickness. But he would rather play the small forward position, but his numbers are much better, and the team plays much better and faster in this system with him playing as a 4-man.
Diaw just picked up a foul. Before that, Nowitzki picked up his first foul. Banks, Marion, with Thomas, Diaw. Out there in Nash, 5 for the Phoenix Suns. This is Jason Terry with a 3. He had 23 last night, as Reggie said. He had struggled in the previous games for Dallas. So when he gets on track, a lot of good things happen for the Mavs, who right now are on a 12-0 run. And that is broken by the Thomas shot.
And now D.A. had a layup and threw it out to a guy to shoot a 17-footer. A lot of times he overpasses. You don't mind guys being unselfish, but you don't want them passing up layups.
But that's also a guy that's very uncomfortable with his shot right now too, Coach. So
I agree with that.
He's a little tentative.
Greg Buckner is checked in for the Dallas Mavericks. It's knocked away as Nowitzki was going across the lane. Looked like maybe Marion, who is always one of the top steal guys in the league. Banks picks up his first. This will send Dirk Nowitzki to the free throw line. This is a place where he's not been as much this year as compared to last year. Well, we've talked about the Dallas keys before. Doug, dial us in on the Phoenix Suns keys tonight for Coach Mike D'Antoni.
Well, they got to dominate to start to finish. And what I mean by that, Kevin, is they've led by 9 points or more in 4 of their losses because they played in fits and spurts. They've got to play a 48-minute game tonight, and they need Boris Diaw and Amari Stoudemire to start to get back to form. Nash and Marion have been constants. And then bench contribution. Start getting a rotation. How does Jalen Rose fit into this mix as we see Jalen come in? Marcus Banks, how does he fit in? Kurt Thomas, now that he's coming off the bench. Now how do the pieces fit if this is the team that Mike D'Antoni's going to start going with.
Dion and Marion are out. Jalen Rose, who has just signed, is in for the first time here, played 6 minutes last night. And Amari Stoudemire is back in the game for the Phoenix Suns.
Well, I'm curious really to see, as Coach mentioned before, I want to see when Amari reaches the 30-minute mark, how his body's going to react. He's been off for so long. Is there still rust there?
Nash. Nowitzki knocked it away, and here comes Dallas. With Buckner, who played a season ago at Denver. And Anthony Johnson missing a shot. And now the Suns are in that mode where they want to score under 7 seconds. And Nash had it knocked away by Jop inside. Nowitzki knocked away by Nash. We've already seen a couple times Nowitzki and Nash, and this has been kind of common in the games they've played. They like to go head-to-head, and they usually get switched on each other defensively.
Well, when you read all the articles, you know, you hear Mike D'Antoni talk, say, I don't mind Steve Nash getting switched off on Dirk Nowitzki. They played so much against one another. Steve bothers him a little bit. He knows how to get his body into him and take away his strength. So, you know, when you see that happen, that's not by accident.
Nash is out, and Barbosa has come in. The rookie Ager from Michigan State is in the game for the first time. Very athletic, but drive by Nowitzki and counted for 2. The penetration of the lane, something that Avery Johnson needs to, he thinks, see more out of his team.
Well, you just can't settle for jump shots. And what I like about Dirk is he's being aggressive tonight. He's not settling for jump shots. He knows he might have the foot advantage on Kurt Thomas right there. And we said the keys at the top of the show for Dallas is he has to get touches, Coach, because when he gets touches, not necessarily to shoot all the time, but to make plays for the rest of the guys on the floor.
Well, it's interesting, but they have Kurt Thomas guarding Dirk Nowitzki. Well, you know what? Amari Stoudemire's got to get to a point in time where he's got to play Dirk Nowitzki and let Kurt Thomas play against Jop.
Thomas picked up the foul at the other end. Jop, who started about half the regular season games for the Dallas Mavericks a season ago, comes up with the board right there. Got Banks on Johnson. And now Thomas is on Nowitzki.
You see, Kurt Thomas is a terrific defender, but he does not have that kind of quickness to play against Dirk Nowitzki. If he just takes his time, he can get the shot that he wants.
Here's Jalen Rose. Swat out by the Knicks. Off to Amari Stoudemire. Over the backboard and out of bounds.
That's an area of Amari Stoudemire's game that has to grow. He's been a guy who's run and dunked and got a lot of easy baskets. Now as he's learning the game with a different body here, he's got to start being able to make those little open jump shots.
How do you feel tonight? Yeah, look, I mean, you looked good. You looked like you were working very
You were fooled. Every time I dunk.
Drop 30, 40. It fooled you.
Because you believe that was about me.
While I believe.
It says 5, baby. But you're not a fool, are you?
Hi, I'm Staff Sergeant McKinney, boom operator on the KC-135. Right now we're about to put about 5,000 pounds worth of fuel into a C-17. I know, yeah, we're about 27,000 feet over the Atlantic Ocean.
Experience more at DoSomethingAmazing.com.
When a person vanishes,
I might not be able to hang on. You can hang on to me.
Only one team never gives up and never stops believing. Without a Trace, every weeknight at 7, only on TNT.
This Monday on Project My World, love is in the air.
Romeo, Romeo, wherefore art thou Romeo?
In Verona, the birthplace of romance.
And there's Juliet's balcony. You could see the little trellis that he used to climb up.
Shayna falls for the Canadians.
I was like, this song is a hit song.
Then, has Renee reached the end of her search for true love?
It's become real. I don't know how to deal with it. Crying, oh my God. It's not funny anymore. The cameras had to go.
Project My World, new episode this Monday on DirecTV, Channel 101.
Once again, Matt Hughes has proven he is the most dominant welterweight in the world. Finally, the fight that everyone has been waiting for.
I'm not impressed by your performance.
Matt Hughes defends his title again against George St. Pierre. Also, UFC heavyweight champion Tim Sylvia takes on the wrestling submission master Jeff Monson. 2 world title fights. The Ultimate Fighting Championship presents UFC 65. Bad Intentions from the Arco Arena in Sacramento, California. Live Saturday, November 18th on DirecTV pay-per-view.
A game-high 9 by Dirk Nowitzki. Mavs have led by 6. Craig Sager, the Suns have led by as many as 9. Over to you.
Well, they've been leading in every game so far at certain points. Despite their 1-4 record, they have played extremely well in games. In fact, they've used the NHL's plus-minus to determine production. The quintet of Steve Nash, Xander Barbosa, Raja Bell, Sean Marion, and Kurt Thomas is the most productive fivesome in the entire NBA, an average of plus 12 per game when they're on the free court. However, they have struggled, as Doug mentioned, the rest of the team, particularly Amari Stoudemire. He told me before the game tonight, at times he has felt like an outsider, a stranger in his own land. But he says he's far more comfortable starting. Obviously, they're struggling with Amari in November, but everybody feels it will pay dividends as the season goes on.
A lot of these guys, thank you very much, Craig, are still trying to get in shape, and Stoudemire is at the head of that list. He's not only working on his knee, but on his stamina. We have a defensive 3 inside.
Well, you know, Kevin, just to follow up on what Craig was talking about, you know, Amari Stoudemire has never played with Marcus Banks, really Kurt Thomas, Jalen Rose, Boris Diaw, James Jones, Jermaine Jones. I mean, he's never played with any of these guys. Really, he's only played and been successful with Sean Marion and Steve Nash. So this is a new team for him. And Reggie, you know this. When you've been a great player and maybe gotten hurt and not had a chance to play, and you've got new teammates, you have to earn their trust and respect every day by the way you approach your job and the way you work.
Well, not only that, but you're not going to earn their trust by game time decisions. You have to learn that in practice. And he hasn't really been practicing because he thinks if he practices, the pain is going to come back in his knee. He needs to get practice time to get situated with all these new players. They don't think it's going to happen come game time.
Anthony Johnson has come off the bench with 4 points in a couple of minutes. Dallas is on a 20-2 run. Kurt Thomas. And a foul. Finishing up on Amari. You know, a week ago we saw these Phoenix Suns, and they thought we're going to bring them along slowly. You've kind of touched on it already. Their philosophy, Doug, it seems, has taken almost a 180-degree turn.
Well, when you read Mike D'Antoni's quote, he said, you know what, eventually he's going to be starting for us, so we might as well do it right now. And I tell you what, you be thankful you've got a guy like a Kurt Thomas, who is the pro that he is, because Kurt Thomas may be playing as well as anybody on the Suns right now. And for him to step onto the, over and say, I'll come off the bench, I mean, he is a pro's pro, and that's the kind of guys you need on a team when you're trying to win championships.
Jop just picked up his second foul. Dallas downsizing. They bring in former Laker Devin George.
Well, Kurt was really brought in to have Amari Stoudemire's back, so to speak. And when Amari went down and Kurt went down, and then Kurt comes back before him, he's thinking, the offense is being somewhat a little bit run through me, and what should I do? Do I have Amari's back or not? Or, so they got to find that nice dynamic relationship like a Patrick Ewing and a Charles Oakley. They got to have that nice little combo big man in sync.
Banks just picked up the foul. 1:31 to play here in the first quarter. Both teams are shooting over 50%. One player in double figures right now, that is Dirk Nowitzki, and he's got 10. And Anthony Johnson will be at the free throw line. ESPN has Miami, New Jersey, followed by Detroit Lakers. Coverage 7:30 Saturday. NBA TV, Indiana, Chicago. Coverage 8:30 Eastern time. And here is Anthony Johnson, a rugged, gritty player, and the kind of guy that I think, in a perfect world, you'd like to put on a guy like Steve Nash.
Well, you think about how good he was in the playoffs last year. He averaged 20 points a game for Indiana.
He had a 40-point quarter.
I was shocked that Indiana let them go when they have such a situation in that point guard situation where can they count on Jamal Tinsley, every single night? Yes, Jessica is he's an older guy, but he's young in terms of his years in the league. He was such a steady player. I was surprised Indiana let Anthony Johnson go because I thought he played very well for them.
Mavericks have their biggest lead tonight of 10. Maurice Ager out of Michigan State is on Barbosa. They've got Buckner on Jalen Rose, a screen by Thomas, and Jalen Rose puts in his first Phoenix Suns points.
And it's the versatility that Jalen is going to bring. Not only is he going to play one, but he's going to play shooting guard and small forward. And he can, not only can he post up, but he's very efficient coming off screens as well.
Where they keep putting Nowitzki on that side of the lane. He took a pretty good crack that time. And I think Rose is the one to get him. Jalen picks up his first for the Phoenix Suns.
He was so big when we played together in Indiana, scoring baskets, facing. He's a great post-up player as well. He sees the floor, so it's just another addition that Coach Mike D'Antoni is going to have to utilize once he gets his legs and once he gets acclimated to the system here.
Let's talk a little bit about Dallas here in this first quarter. Quietly, they have taken an 8-point lead. They have 32 points. They got off to a great start last night against the Clippers. They were up 32-21 after the first quarter. But look at their offensive numbers here, Kevin. The efficiency we talked about, 57% field goal, 8 for 8 from the free throw line, and they have 9 points off 6 forced turnovers. So they're playing good offense. Their defense is better. They're getting on the boards. And as a result, they're winning this game. Now the question is going to be, can they sustain it through a 48-minute period with the injuries?
As well as they're slowing the pace of the game down because they're going to the free throw line. That high-potent Phoenix offense can't get out and break because they're shooting free throws.
Hitting their shots, you're right. They're controlling the tempo of the game, which all teams strive to do against a team like Phoenix. And the foul goes on Ager, who picks up his first personal foul, the rookie for the Dallas Mavericks. Avery Johnson has an animated visit with him. And at the free throw line is Leandro Barbosa. He have a brand new $30 million plus contract this past offseason. With exclusive interviews by John Thompson and Craig Sager and complete replays of TNT's exceptional Inside the NBA. TNT Overtime is on all the time at NBA.com or AOL.com/NBA. Barbosa again. Had that big 30-point night, Doug. Remember opening out against the Los Angeles Lakers.
Oh, he was terrific. 6 of 8 from the three-point line. Has struggled a little bit. He did hit his first three tonight, but 5 of 18 over his last few games from that three-point line. He's been very streaky.
No fouls to give either way in the final 40 seconds of the first quarter. Shot clock is down to 8.
Well, how about the job Anthony Johnson has done coming in? 2 fouls by Devin Harris. Controlling the tempo, settling down this Dallas Mavericks team.
Here comes Barbosa. Playing now, they wanted to play exclusively that 2-guard, but he's so good with the ball, it's sometimes tough not to let him take the ball down like we saw right there.
Well, the problem is he's a finisher. He's not a guy who's going to see a lot of other guys on the floor. He's got his eyes on that rim, and that's what they want him to do. He struggled when they tried to play him as a backup to Steve Nash.
Right.
And so they wanted to turn him loose. That's why Boris Diaw is so important to this team, because he handles the ball when Nash is out. And I think they want Jalen Rose to be able to do the same thing, play those 3 guys together so they can rest Nash longer.
And they're out there right now. Diaw out there with Marion, Banks. Rose is on Stackhouse, winding down the first quarter. And Devin George missing a 3, which takes us to the conclusion of the first. A game-high 12 points by Dirk Nowitzki. The Suns led by 9. 19-10. Then Dallas closes the quarter on a 24-7 run. At the end of one, it's Dallas 34-26 on TNT.
Separate yourself from the herd. The Ridgeline, the 2006 Motor Trend Truck of the Year from Honda.
Good oral health is part of your overall health. Philips Sonicare. Sonicare improves your oral health. Its patented sonic technology creates dynamic cleaning action, getting deep between the teeth and along the gum line for a healthier mouth guaranteed. It makes sense Sonicare is the power toothbrush brand most used and recommended by dental professionals. Sonicare. Simplicity is brushing your teeth and taking care of your body.
Why would I want to be in your 5?
Why not? I'm Dwayne Wade. My 5's hot.
You hot right now, but I'm a legend. I'm an icon. Everybody knows me.
Dwayne Wade?
Hey.
I am such a big fan of yours. You are so amazing and you're such a great player. And oh, I'm sorry. Is this your dad?
Who's in your fave 5? Introducing my faves from T-Mobile with any network calling. Unlimited calls to your 5 favorite people on any network.
If you want to make your hard-earned dollar go a whole lot farther, get ready. Advance Auto Parts has the low prices guaranteed to save you money. Get ready to get the best price possible on all the parts and accessories you need with our ready-to-go low price guarantee. Nobody can beat our prices on just about anything for your car. So when you want to get more for your money while getting more out of your car, get to Advance Auto Parts for our everyday ready-to-go low price guarantee. Ready in advance.
And Ferguson on the 17th. Oh, that's trouble.
¿Papá la bar? ¿Lula?
Un poquito más a la derecha.
Increíble! He's looking right at it. It's there.
Nothing is lost with the full HD 1080p Aquas from the leading innovator of liquid crystal television, Sharp.
This is what it's like when you're looking for a car on Autotrader.com. It's the only place you can see almost 3 million cars, the largest selection of cars anywhere. And when you search from a selection this wide, no matter what you're looking for, on Autotrader.com, you'll find exactly the car you want, just like that. So why go anywhere else? Autotrader.com, the smarter place to buy and sell a car.
The 5 that make 41. Shooting touch. Versatility.
Nowitzki is on fire!
Hands. Dependability.
Nowitzki goes right at Bowen. And the foul!
Fancy footwork.
Nowitzki with the step. Yes!
Dirk Nowitzki has finished 3rd in the MVP voting for 2 consecutive seasons. Doug, you've been talking about offensive efficiency tonight. Case in point, Nowitzki's game and what has happened to the team in the first quarter.
And they've done it by controlling the tempo. We talked about it, getting to the free throw line, slowing the Suns down. And, you know, quietly the Suns are struggling with turnovers early in the year. Last night, San Antonio had 29 points off turnovers. Tonight, Dallas already 9 points off turnovers. Steve Nash with 4 turnovers in that first quarter.
Perry in the screen and Diaw with the miss. Let's set the lineups as we begin the second quarter. Johnson brings it down. Jason Terry is back in there. Devin George, Stackhouse, and Dampier playing with 2 fouls. A very small Dallas lineup right now. Phoenix is out there. There's a foul, and it's called on Dampier, who just has assessed his 3rd foul. Out there, Jalen Rose, Barbosa, Diaw, Marion, and Banks. That's the 5 to begin the second quarter for Phoenix.
You know, Reggie, before the game, you and I were talking. I said, how are all these big guys having all these turnovers?
Now you know how.
Now I see it. They're getting all these moving picks. We've seen about 3 of those tonight between Dampier and Job.
Well, you look at the size of the Phoenix Suns, Boris Diaw being the biggest player out there. Job has to make a conscious effort to really go after the offensive glass out here, try to control the glass if you're the Dallas Mavericks.
Phoenix is the 6th team that Rose has played for, and there's a foul, and it's called on Jason Terry. And Terry picks up his first personal foul. Just updating, Dallas has turned it over 6 times, and they've only been burned for 2 points, but Doug, Phoenix has turned it over 7 times, and they have allowed 9 Dallas points. Marion with Devin George defending. And with Josh Howard out, the play of Devin George becomes even more crucial. Another Phoenix turnover.
A Dallas good interior defense. A lot of deflections tonight. They've either gotten steals or gotten their hands on basketballs. They're playing very active tonight in a back-to-back game. They were very sluggish, I thought, the last 3 quarters of the game last night against the Clippers after they got off to a great start.
A game they lost. Here's Terry. Shot clock is down to 2, and Terry can't hit it. But Marcus Banks nails Terry. And that's a foul and 3 free throws coming up.
And these are the things that drive a coach crazy. You got the shot clock running down, and Marcus Banks fouls a jump shooter behind the arc for 3 points right here. And he just had a turnover on the previous play. And I really think once Jalen Rose really gets acclimated to this system, I see Jalen Rose playing a little bit more one to spell Steve Nash when he goes out because of his versatility.
Nash has been out since the 3:08 mark of the first quarter, still resting on the floor. Stoudemire has just come in for Banks for Phoenix.
Well, one of the things that Mike D'Antoni's trying to get is he's trying to find a team he can put on the floor that doesn't fall apart when Steve Nash is on the bench. And that's basically what's happened a lot in this preseason. You've heard, or excuse me, the early season is that when Nash has been out of the game, the Suns have struggled to score. Their offense has hit a wall, and that's when these teams have made these, what I call these mood swings during the course of the game, where the Suns will go from 9 up to 10 down in about an 8-minute period of time.
And Doug, here's your trifecta on the floor with Nash out, Barbosa, Rose, and Dion.
I think that's going to be a good lineup for them because it's guys that can make plays, can handle the basketball, and guys who all can shoot.
Well, they're -7 with Nash out of the game. Johnson trying to defend Jalen Rose. Here comes Amari Stoudemire.
They do have some active hands tonight, Dallas does. Really getting into the trenches, coming up with loose balls and steals.
Johnson misses the 3. Barbosa vacuums it in. And here come the Suns. Phoenix shooting 50%. Dallas 12 of 24, right at 50%. Stoudemire with a great pass from Leandro Barbosa.
And Anthony Johnson was looking around at Ghana Jop right there because that was supposed to be Jop's responsibility to patrol the paint because they had a 2-on-1 isolation. Big man's protecting the lane right there.
Devin George over Rose. Rebound by Amari Stoudemire. He claims his 3rd rebound tonight with 7 points. Barbosa.
Well, he's so good going to the basket. He loves to drive with that left hand, finish around the basket with his right hand. And that time he just flipped it over the top of a very good shot blocker in Ghana Jop. But this is what Amari Stoudemire lives off of, the little pick and roll. And what's happened on that play is Jop was pulled out on the perimeter playing against Diaw. Here's the little flipper in the lane, and the Suns are trying to get something going here as Dallas leads by 6.
What's up playing with me, you old whippersnapper? Check ball.
Check.
Ball game.
I got it, Wise. I got it.
Oh, yeah.
Woo!
I'll call you back.
Uh-oh.
Where you going?
Got you.